Hey everyone, it is Dani'i and welcome to this updated video. And so in this video, of course, the focus will be on the Caribbean as there is an increase in moisture across some areas that is going to be increasing the probability of heavy rainfall. And so we'll be taking a look at all of that, at what is currently happening out there, as well as what is expected as we're going to be progressing through the next couple of days. And so before I go into details, please do subscribe and tap the notification bell so that you never miss an important update. And to show your support for the channel, you can leave a like on this video. Alright, and so let's go ahead and get straight into it. And so as we're taking a look at the region, we're definitely seeing where not too much is happening across majority of the areas. We're not seeing too much for the northwestern Caribbean or the northern Caribbean. Not much going on at all. Maybe just some passing clouds that might be resulting in some stray showers, but there isn't anything too major seen on satellite. However, heading to the vicinity of the Windward Islands, that is where the activity is right now. So all that moisture is resulting in the showers and thunderstorms that we're seeing just outside the Caribbean, just north of some areas such as Guyana and Suriname. But other areas, parts of the Caribbean, are going to be experiencing increased rainfall as a result of all this moisture that is expected to persist maybe for the next day or so. And taking a closer look at the region here, we're definitely seeing that there isn't much at the moment going on in Trinidad, but as we progress throughout the day, the area, not just Trinidad, but northern Venezuela as well as Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, these areas are going to be seeing more of a probability for rainfall, and heavy rainfall has the potential to lead to flash flooding across flood-prone areas. So guys, please be aware of that happening and do not take any unnecessary risks. So let's see what is up for the next couple of days. And so we're going to be taking a look at what the models are expecting, really just the GFS and Euro. But before we do so, here's a look at the current water vapor, and where we have the yellows and oranges, those are areas of dry air. And as I usually say, whenever we see a lot of dry air, there isn't too much shower and thunderstorm activity that is going to be taking place, because all that convective activity depends on instability. Meanwhile, for dry environments, it is dry, stable conditions, so that is not conducive for the development of a lot of showers and thunderstorms. And we're definitely seeing that in the vicinity of all that moisture just outside the region that's going to be affecting the Windward Islands, there isn't much dry air or any dry air really seen being persistent or being abundant within that area. So now let's go ahead and look at what the different models are expecting. And this is a map of the relative humidity, and of course the browns indicate drier conditions, meanwhile the teals indicate moist conditions. And so when we have more of those darker shades of teals, that indicates more moisture being in abundance, meanwhile for the darker browns, that indicates more dry air being in abundance. And so this is what the GFS is expecting for later today. And so we're definitely seeing all that moisture across some areas of the Southeast Caribbean, Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, and even areas as far as St. Lucia could also experience some increased rainfall as a result of all the moisture within the area. And as we're going to be progressing into tomorrow, the GFS has this being a bit more extensive into other areas, but mainly persistent in the aforementioned areas. But even though we're definitely seeing where there is a lot of moisture that is expected in the area, that doesn't mean that the rainfall is going to be absolutely crazy. But of course, the potential is going to be existing for a lot of heavy rainfall across many of these areas. However, as we progress down into Thursday, GFS has it that things are going to start clearing up for most of the area. We see some lingering moisture still in the vicinity of Trinidad and Tobago and parts of Venezuela and northern Guyana. And then as we head to Friday, we see that the dry air eventually takes over again, likely leading to a lot of sunny skies at that time. So that is what the GFS is expecting. So as we're going to be heading through today and into tomorrow, that is going to be the time frame that the rainfall is going to be probable. but as we progress into the latter part of the week, then things are expected to improve. And now moving on to the euro. So euro is expecting that there isn't going to be that much abundant moisture. It is definitely showing the moisture. We're seeing the teals, but notice that they're not in the shades as dark as what the GFS was expecting. So heading to tomorrow, we are definitely seeing where things are clearing up a bit already. So the euro is not expecting that there will be too much happening in the vicinity of the southeastern Caribbean. And as we progress to Thursday, of course, conditions continue to improve as per the euro, and eventually all that dry air takes over as we progress into the end of this week. So guys, that is what these two main models are expecting as we're going to be heading into the next few days. So again, we have all that moisture that is in abundance just outside the vicinity of the southeastern Caribbean, and that can certainly result in some issues in terms of all the rainfall and possible flooding that can take place. And so something else that I want to show you guys is the simulated IR satellite. So this is what the satellite could look like as we progress into the next couple of days, and this is for the GFS model. And so here we have it. So on simulated infrared satellite, we're seeing here that the model is not expecting that there'll be too much happening across most of the Caribbean. However, as for the southeastern Caribbean, we're definitely seeing all that increase in activity, but eventually all of it is going to be clearing out as we progress into Thursday, just as what we saw on that relative humidity map from the model. So again, for most of the Caribbean, things are pretty quiet right now because there is quite a bit of dry air that is inhibiting any major activity, especially for the northern Caribbean. But of course, for the southeastern Caribbean, things are expected to get a little bit unstable within the region. And so guys, that is what is expected as we're going to be progressing into the rest of this week. And in terms of some areas experiencing some below average temperatures, not necessarily below average for this time of the year, but cooler than normal conditions, that's because we're progressing into winter, which begins, the winter solstice is on the 21st of December. So when we're in winter, of course, things are cooler in the northern hemisphere. But of course, the Caribbean is close to the equator. We're in the tropics, which is warm all year round. It's just that temperatures will dip around this time headed to January and February next year. And then of course, as we progress to March, April, May, and then to June, when summer begins yet again, then activity is going to be ramping up. But that is quite some time from now. So for now, let us just enjoy the festive season. So tropical cyclones, definitely not something to worry about for the rest of the year. But again, in terms of that increased rainfall, please take all the necessary precautions, guys, and remember that in the case of flash flooding, if you're driving, turn around, don't drown if you see flooded roadways, and ensure that you know your evacuation routes should in case your area is becoming inundated as a result of all of the heavy rainfall. And so guys, that is really it for now, and if you have any questions, you can leave them down in the comments, and you can also share your thoughts there. And of course, remember to always be weatherwise.